So from yesterday, the first practice problem looked like this. And with that problem, we needed to find the surface area. And so for the surface area, we have, so if this is the length and this is the width, and then this is the height, we need to have 2 of the lengths times widths plus 2 of the lengths times height plus 2 of the widths times height. Okay. And so when I look at this, we have to have 2 times 10 times 5 plus 2 times 10 times 1 plus 2 times 5 times 1. Okay. And that'd be 2 times 50 plus 2 times 10 plus 2 times 5. Okay. Or 100 plus 20 plus 10. I add those up, and my surface area for this first one is going to be 130 feet squared. And it's squared because it's area. Okay? So that is number 1. For number 2, surface area for this one is going to be, let's say this is the length again, this is the width, this is the height. It would be 2 times the length times the width plus 2 times the length times the height plus 2 times the width times the height. Okay? So for this one, it would be 2 times 6 times 9 plus 2 times 6 times 3 plus 2 times 9 times 3. Okay? Or that would be the same as 2 times 54 plus 2 times 18 plus 2 times 27. Little leg. 108 plus 36 plus 54. When I add those all together, I get a surface area of 198 centimeters squared. And that was the answer to practice problem number. All right, for the third one, again, it would be 2 times the length times the width plus 2 times the length times the height plus 2 times the width times the height. Okay. Or from looking at this, it'd be 2 times 4 plus 2 times 5 plus 2 times 4 times 5. Or 2 times 8 plus 2 times 10 plus 2 times 20, which is 16 plus 20 plus 40. And therefore, the surface area of this rectangular prism would be 76 yards squared. The problem from yesterday was a triangular prism. Triangular prism is going to have 5 faces. There's going to be 2 triangles. And so for the triangles, the area of the triangles is going to be 1/2 of base times height, but then I'm going to times it by 2 because there's 2 of the triangles. And so it's 1/2 of base 1 times 2. And then I'm going to multiply that by 2, and then I'm going to get, let's see here, 2/2. I'm going to get an area of 2 total, 2 feet squared for both of them. Okay. Then we have 3 rectangles. And so rectangle number 1 would be, let's say, the base one, the bottom one. So it'd be base times height, or 1 times 3, or 3 feet squared. Okay. Rectangle 2 would be, let's see here, the flat one going on the top here, and it would be base times height, or 3 times 2.2 feet. And then that is going to be equal to 6.6 feet squared. Okay. Last, we have rectangle 3. Rectangle 3 is going to be the 3 times 2 on this backside. This is 3, so this is 3, so it's 3 times 2 for this backside. So base times height, 3 times 2, or 6 feet squared. Now all I have to do is my surface area is going to be me taking all of these and adding them up. So the surface area is going to be 2 feet squared for the triangles, plus 3 feet squared for the first rectangle, plus 6.6 feet squared for the second, plus 6 feet squared for the third rectangle. When I add those together, I get a surface area of 17.6 feet squared. About this next drawing, but the triangle is a base of 6, a height of 4, and so we're going to figure out both of those, the one this side and the one on the back side. And so 1/2 of base times height is going to be 1/2 of 6 times 4, which is going to equal 12. There are 2 of them, so it should be 24 meters squared for the triangles. Then with the triangular prism, I know there are 5 total sides, so there's 5 rectangles. I see that this is 7. That means this side is also 7. And so for 2 of them, it's going to be the base times the height is going to be 7 times 5 for this one, because both sides of this is 5 and this is 5. And so it's going to be 35 meters squared. And that would be true for the other one. So the other rectangle, the base times the height, it's going to be 7 times 5, which is 35 meters squared. Then the bottom one is 6 times 7. And so the base times the height is going to be 6 times 7, or 35 meters. I'm sorry, 42 meters squared. Then I need to add them all together for my surface area. So my surface area is going to be 24 plus 35 plus 35 plus 42. When I add those all together, I get a surface area of 136 meters squared. Practice problem number 6. Not a good drawing again, sorry, but this is a right triangle. So this is the base and this is the height. And so for my triangles, it's 1/2 of the base times the height, or 1/2 of 4 times 4 times 4. And that would be half of 16, which is 8. But then there's 2 of them. And so it would be 16 millimeters squared. So it's a really small rectangular prism. Then my 3 rectangles are going around the outside. And so rectangle 1, we have right here, is 4 times 3, which is 12. Rectangle 2, which we have here, is 4 times 3, because this is 3 and this is 3 and this is 3. And so that is 12. And then rectangle 3 is on the back side, so it's 5.7 times 3, which is going to be 17.1 millimeters squared. Now I've got to add those all together. So the surface area is going to be 16 for the triangles, plus 12, plus 12, plus 17.1 to get a total of 57.1 millimeters squared for the surface area for this rectangular prism. Our last one is the tent, and it's still just finding the surface area of a triangular prism, and it's just saying what's the least amount of fabric you can make. So we just need to find the surface area here. So for the triangles, we have a base of 6 and a height of 4. So it's 1/2 of base times height, or 1/2 of 6 times 4, which is going to be half of 24, which is 12. There's 2 of them. There's the front and the back. So that's going to be 24 feet squared for the triangles. Then I see this side's 5. I see this side's 5. That means this side's 5. So these top 2, the base times the height, is going to be 7 times 5, and that's for the rectangle on this side and the rectangle on the back side. Base times height is going to be 7 times 5, and both of those are going to be 35 feet squared. Then the bottom one is going to be 7 times 6, base times height, 7 times 6, which is 42 feet squared. Then all I have to do is add these together. And so my surface area is going to be 24 plus 35 plus 35 plus 42. And my surface area for this is going to be 136 feet squared. And so that's how much fabric I would need to make this tent. Okay. And those were your practice problems from yesterday with finding the surface area of rectangular prisms and